Well, we'll call this meeting the 83rd annual meeting of Vancouver Electric to order. Veterans, please stand and be recognized. Remain standing and the rest of the members stand, and we'll have our national anthem. And then remain standing for the flag pledge. Remain standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The absentee ballots you received in the mail in April can only be counted if they were returned to the office by the deadline of April 23rd. The only ballots that can be counted today are those from the during registration. Absentee ballots you received in the mail will not be used during the meeting. The meeting day ballots available at the registration are the only ballots that will be collected today. Drawings will take place at the end of the meeting. Attorney Niles Bergman will act as parliamentarian at today's meeting.
Good morning. I'm Joel Lawrence, Secretary Treasurer of the Jump River Electric Co-op Directors. Report on registration and declare a quorum present. At this time, we have 48 members, which is not a quorum. We need 50. We need 2 more. And just move on to the other. Okay. Excuse me. Certificate of Secretary Joel Lawrence, do hereby certify that I am fully qualified and acting Secretary of the Jump River Electric Co-op Incorporated, hereinafter referred to as a cooperative, as an incorporated association, organized under the laws of the state of Wisconsin and keeper of this records, that the attached and after voting is a true and correct copy of the original minutes entered in the minute book of the cooperative of the annual meeting of the members, therefore convened and held pursuant to and in accordance with the laws of the state of Wisconsin and the articles of incorporation and bylaws of the cooperative. on this 24th day of April, 2021, and that at said meeting, a quorum of the members of the cooperative was present, which isn't at this time, in person or by a proxy. That said meeting was held in accordance with the laws of the after said state and the articles of incorporation and the bylaws of the cooperative. That copies of said notice of said meeting and the affidavit as secretary with respect to mailing of said notice annexed to the aforesaid copy of the minutes are true and correct of the originals, and said notice of said affidavit and copies of the certifications of inspectors of election presented to the members at their said meeting, that none of the resolutions contained in the aforesaid copy of the said minutes of said meeting of members have been rescinded or modified, and that the same are at the date, therefore in full force and effect. In witness whereof, I have hereunto subscribed my name as secretary and affixed the seal of the cooperative on this 24th day of April, 2021. Boy, is that a mouthful, huh? Everybody got that? Anything else? Thank you very much.
Joe, why don't you just turn that mic off?
Sadly, here we are again, the second year in a row without a quorum. However, we are able to complete most of the business that would otherwise be conducted if we had a quorum. We can do that because state law allows a cooperative to count toward the quorum absentee ballots and electronic ballots that are cast. So we have more than the required 50 for the election of the directors. We have more than the required 50 for the action on the two sets of proposed bylaw amendments. And we have more than 50 on the advisory resolution. And finally, more than 50 for approval of both the 2019 and 2020 annual meeting minutes. So we are able this morning to complete the business lawfully, but we will brainstorm how to make sure that we can attract a quorum for our meetings in future years. And we haven't 100% given up hope that before we get too deep into the meeting that we'll find two more members. That's all we're short at this point. So we're going to proceed with the agenda as if we had a quorum, but other than the subjects of the mail and electronic ballots, there is no formal business that we will be able to complete this morning in a legal sense. The next item on the agenda is the affidavit of mailing, and we have this is a photocopy that the co-op has on file, an original affidavit of notice of meeting signed on behalf of the Wisconsin Electric Cooperative Association, giving evidence that they provided the required legal notice of this meeting in the April issue of the Wisconsin Energy Co-op News that was mailed on March 29th. And by law and state law requires the notice of meeting to be mailed to members not more than 30 days ahead of the meeting and not less than 7 days, and we fall within that window. The next item are the rules of the annual meeting. Some of these are still relevant and some are not. The rules are published in the annual report, and they're also there's a copy of them in the tote bags you received this morning. They provide that the meeting this morning will not be by voice voting if we're able to conduct any meeting, any voting here in person at the annual meeting. Voting will be by show of those fly swatters that you received when you registered this morning. More use for those when we were outside in the park last year than inside this morning, but if we're able to conduct a formal vote this morning, that's how we will vote. And the rules also establish the deadline for submitting members to submit proposed advisory resolutions. We have one, and we'll talk about that a little later. And that deadline was February 23rd. The rules also establish the 3 different ways you were able to vote, returning the signed written ballot from the booklets, the ballot booklets you received by 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, electronically, if you voted by 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, or by the ballot that you received when you registered this morning. Rules next provide that the tellers are authorized to open the envelopes and to start the count of the ballots in the interest of time so that the counting doesn't delay the completion of the meeting. The rules provide that the meeting will be conducted in accordance with Robert's rules, supplemented by these additional rules adopted by the Rules and Resolutions Committee. And finally, the rules provide that members must be recognized by the chairman of the meeting and are to limit comments to 2 minutes plus 1 minute for rebuttal. And those are the rules of the meeting as adopted by the Rules and Resolutions Committee pursuant to bylaw. The next item on the agenda is the introduction of the directors, and I'll ask you each to stand until everybody's been introduced, and then we'll properly recognize all of you. From District 1, Jane Wright, from Shelton. District 2, Myron Brooks, Gilmer. District 3, Joe Lawrence, Shelton. District 4, Jerry Carroll, Ladysmith. District 5, Bill Van Doren, Ladysmith. District 7, Jason Weaver, Hayward. District 8, Wally Crook, Hayward. And District 9, Sandy Shara, Hayward. And Jack Sermon, who represented District 6, moved off our lines, is no longer an active member of the cooperative. We hope that Jack will resume his membership when he has his permanent residence reestablished. But for now, that district seat is vacant. Next, let me just acknowledge the hardworking people up on the stage here. Our tellers, our election inspectors, and they've been hard at work for over an hour now, counting all of the mail ballots, recording the results that we received from survey and ballot systems for the electronic votes. And I think they've now started work on the meeting day ballots as well. And if you all would stand up or wave as we call your name. Jerry Geisler, Jackson Reeder, Kathy Patera, Doug Dykus, Gene Ludvigson, and Richard Gilbertson. Thank you for your hard work. My hands are full, or I I would have started applause for the board. You certainly deserve it with all the work that you do throughout the year as well. So this year we have 3 districts that are up for election, as you saw in the annual report and in the ballot books that you received in the mail. District 1, District 5, and District 6. So this is a point in the meeting where we introduce each of the candidates up for election, and we've invited each of the candidates to speak for just a couple of minutes if they would like to supplement the information that's in the annual report on pages 16 and 16A that gives you a little information about their background. So in District 1, the candidates are Jane Wright and John Fitzel. So Jane, would you like to say a few words?
Good morning. I'm Jane Wright, your member director, and I have been your director for the last 9 years. I want to thank you for the opportunity to represent you and also for the education that I have received dealing with this industry. Together, we are progressing into a unique electrical future. In my time as a board member, we have gone through some very trying times, but we have always moved forward in a positive direction. This year has underscored the importance of safe, reliable electricity for all. We take our commitment to powering our communities very seriously 24/7. If you like a focused, listen up, speak up kind of director, well, that's what you have in me. Again, thank you for putting your trust and support in me.
Thank you, Jane. And the other candidate is John Fitzel. Is Mr. Fitzel here? There we go. You're welcome to come forward if you'd like.
Well, right there. I've got some mobility issues.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. My name is John Fitzel. I live north of Stanley. I have worked for Russ County now for going on 20 years. I have a background in GIS, which is Geographical Information Systems. I run the Land Information Office at the county. I was also on City Council in Greenwood, where I previously lived for 6 years. I guess my bio kind of laid everything out. If anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask, I'd be more than happy to entertain any questions. That's really about it. I have 2 basic reasons that I wanted to get on the board. One is that I like to know what's going on. I like to understand why things are done a certain way. I think that knowledge is power. Excuse me. And the other reason is that it's good to be active in the community. We need to have more people like that in today's, and unfortunately, you don't see a lot of that. But I hope with my experience and my background that I can bring some good knowledge to co-op, and hopefully kind of bring things forward in the future a little bit. I do have to commend our current board. They've done a great job in resolving some issues that we've had in the past. And like I said, I think they've done a good job. And hopefully everybody can move forward and get things better. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you, John. As you know, all of the members have a right to vote for one candidate in each of the districts. So if you have a meeting day ballot that you haven't turned in, please mark your ballot for one of the candidates, either for Jane or for John in District 1. In District 5, the candidates are Bill Van Doren and Arian Knapp's. Bill, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, welcome everybody. I'm Bill Pandora, and I have been your District 5 Director. I have served this position a partial term and then a complete 3-year term. During that time, we as a board have developed a coherent atmosphere to lead your co-op in a comprehensive, compassionate, and forward-active direction. The co-op has built a futuristic headquarters in Ladysmith, which is making our services more efficient and saving the co-op money in the long term, knowing that construction costs were increasing at 5% a year. We have developed an equipment fund, a storm fund, to better prepare for the unexpected in the future. We have changed our billing emphasis by raising the base fee and lowering the kilowatt charge. This prepares us to cope with incoming power from within our membership. It costs just as much to keep the power lines functional, whether we sell a large amount of power or a small amount of power. A homeowner that is largely dependent on electric power should not be subsidizing a neighbor whose power usage is small because they use mostly LP fuel or are a seasonal resident. This is what we call proper form of equity. We are presently exploring a time of use billing, which is in reality will save the co-op and directly save the membership if they are willing to change past habits slightly. This process is where we adjust our time of use slightly to avoid high demand times. This means we start our electric clothes dryer a couple hours later, or you plug in your electric car when you go to bed. These are just some of the things, as a board member, I have been a part of recently. Lastly, we are continuing to look for ways to make it easier to be involved in your co-op. As you have noticed, you pay your bills, monitor the board meetings, and vote online. I hope you will give me your support to continue moving your co-op in a forward direction. And I thank you. I also would like to thank you for showing up in person, because that's the way the co-op should be. I should be able to look you in the eye and tell you what I think, why this is happening, and you should be able to talk to me. So I'm always available. Win or lose today, I will be around for a while, so if you have something of concern, come speak to me or call me, and I believe all the board members have the same feeling. We are available. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. The other candidate in District 5 is Arian Knapp's. Arian?
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Arian Knapp, and I am a candidate for the Jump River Board of Directors in District 5. I have more than 35 years of work experience in the utility industry. Most of those years were with NSP/XL Energy in Minneapolis. The rest was for a telephone company. From my first stint on the Jump River Electric Board, I know there are differences between a public utility and a co-op, but there are a great number of similarities. The greatest similarity is the main goal is to provide the customer with the most reliable electric service possible. The job, I believe, of a board member is not to have a personal agenda, other than to provide the tools for the employees of the co-op to provide that service. As I look at it, the board, in reality, only has one employee, and that is the manager. His job is to bring the needs of the co-op to the board and ask for our ideas and input into those needs. We give that input, and then the manager has to put the resolutions into action. Board members should have no real dealings with the day-to-day operation of the cooperative. We are here to provide the money and the tools to the manager and the professionals he has working under him to accomplish the goal of reliable electric service. If you, the members of this co-op, elect me to the board, the only promise I will make you is that I will do the best job, to the best of my ability. To those of you who know me, I will keep my word. Thank you.
Thank you, Arian. So now, if you have a meeting day ballot and haven't done so already, if you would please mark your ballot in District 5 for either Bill or Arian. And finally, in District 6, William Amory is the candidate. And again, there is information about each of the candidates on pages 16 and 16A of the annual report. Bill?
Thanks. Good morning. My name is, I prefer Bill Amory. I'm from, I guess, District 6. As you'll see, some of this is rather new to me this morning. I prefer to go by Bill Amory. The reason, frankly, I'm here this morning is because my friend, Jack Sermon, was so devoted and passionate about being a member of this board. We had some discussions about it. I thought if there were an opportunity to be of service, I'd be interested in it. And as events transpired, that's what happened this morning. And I guess my chances are good since I'm running unopposed. Just by way of background, I'm retired and I live once again in the town of Spider Lake with my wife and our 98-pound German Shepherd. I have 2 kids. They both reside in Madison. I spent most of my career working in the healthcare industry as a health administrator. I've had a connection to this part of the country that actually I feel goes back quite a ways now. We were seasonal residents going back to 1985 on Big Spider Lake, in the town of Spider Lake. But actually my dad grew up in St. Croix Falls, and another ancestor of mine came over on the boat from England sometime in the 1840s, I think it was. He evidently had some pretty good surveying skills, and as a result of that, in and around the St. Croix area, he helped a lot of new people in this country, mostly from Norway. He helped them carve out a homestead, so they were able to get 40 acres of land and start farming. And I think it was sometime maybe in 1858 or thereabouts that on his deathbed, the people of Big Dam, Wisconsin were grateful enough to change their town's name from Big Dam to Amory. So my roots go back in this area, I suppose, back to my great-great-grandfather, if you want to be a historian about it. By way of background, I have worked in management, and I've also participated as a member and a chair of a couple of different boards. I think that allows me a certain appreciation of the differences between management and governance, and I hope that that will serve me well in this new sort of venture. The thing I don't know very much about at all is the operation of an electric cooperative, but I pledge to you that I'll do my very best to be a quick study of that should I be elected as a result of the results this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Again, if you have not marked your meeting day ballot, if you would please vote for all 3 of the districts, 1 candidate in each of the 3 districts. I'm going to ask you to hold on to those ballots because they also include votes on bylaw amendments and the advisory resolution and the minutes of the prior year's meetings. So the next, we'll get the results from the electors in just a few minutes after Myron and Jim present their reports. We'll present the results of the voting. Right now, I want to turn to the proposed bylaw amendments. There are 3 of them. They appear in the annual report on pages 16B and C. I'm not going to read them to you, but I will remind you that there are 2 separate sets. The first set would amend Article 4, Section 3 of the bylaws to clarify the residence requirement for directors. And the Rules and Resolutions Committee did recommend a vote in favor of that amendment. The second set of amendments affect 4 sections of the bylaws, Sections 1, 5, and 7 of Article 3, and Section 5 of Article 4. And these would provide tools in the future for us to deal with a pandemic or other emergency type situations where it's not feasible or safe for us to convene large numbers of members in person, or where any of our members might be reluctant to come to a large meeting. It gives the board the discretion to allow participation electronically. It doesn't mandate it. There are pros and cons. This point has been discussed, debated within the board, whether it's a good thing or not a good thing. And I assure you the board will give it just as much thought in the future before going down that path. But the first step in the process is to amend the bylaws in this fashion to allow for electronic participation. And by the way, that electronic participation, the amendments include a provision that would say that to the extent permitted by law, members who would participate via Zoom or any of the other electronic platforms could be counted toward a quorum. So it's another way to ensure that a quorum is reached for our meetings in the future. So that's the second set of proposed amendments. Are there any questions or comments about the proposed bylaw amendments? Any questions or comments about them? If not, and the Rules and Resolutions Committee recommends a vote in favor of that second set of amendments, just like the first set. The next item that's on the ballot is approval, is an advisory resolution that was proposed by a member. It was submitted on a timely basis, and it would urge the board to approve a 5-year moratorium on any future rate hikes. And it is an advisory resolution. The board is charged by law and by your bylaws with exercising its best judgment about what's necessary for the long-term health of the cooperative and its membership. This advisory resolution got extensive discussion at the Rules and Resolutions Committee in February, and the committee on an 8-to-1 vote recommended against adoption of the resolution. So I'll ask at this point if there are any questions or comments about the advisory resolution. If not, then I'll move on to the last items that are on the ballot, and that is approval of the 2019 annual meeting minutes and approval of the 2020 annual meeting minutes as they are printed and appear on pages 16H and 17 of the annual report. So are there any, let me ask first of all, if there are any corrections to either the 2019 or 2020 annual meeting minutes as they were printed for the membership in the annual report? Any additions or corrections to the minutes as published? If not, then I will ask you, if you have a meeting day ballot that you haven't deposited yet, if you mark your ballot on all of the items that are on the ballot, we'll get the final ballots to the tellers and report the results in just a few minutes. And yeah, so if you have a meeting day ballot you haven't deposited yet, hold it up and we'll collect that. I think you're making our job a little easier. Thank you. And next item on the agenda is the chairman's report. Hiram?
Good morning. My name is Myron Brooks. I'm the chairman of the board of directors at Jump River Electric Cooperative. What a challenging year 2020 has been. It was challenging for us as members and for Jump River Electric. The board managed to meet in person all during the year by using the community room for meetings and social distancing and wearing masks. Meetings and trainings were virtual, and this might be the only plus out of the pandemic, because this is something that's probably going to stay with the co-op in the future, because we save on mileage and hotel rooms, and the directors love not traveling and just staying at Ladysmith and doing their training. When it comes to rates, due to sound strategic planning and oversight by the board of directors and management, rates have not increased since 2018, with no new increases in the foreseeable future. The LCO easement issue is coming to a close. The surveys are almost complete and will be sent on to the BIA for final approval. The result will be major growth for LCO in our cooperative and a 50-year lease. The board spent 2 days drafting a strategic plan. Maintaining our excellent safety program is always the #1 goal. Replacing aging infrastructure will improve our reliability and lower our line loss. Crafting a long-term financial plan that includes equity management, long-term forecasting, cost of service, rates, capital work plan, capital credits, and refinancing long-term debt. Create a communication member engagement plan that puts more information on our website and puts more information in the Wisconsin Rural Electric Cooperative magazine. And encourage members to get involved in the resolutions committee. Some districts are not represented at all in the committee. Evaluate growth and opportunities such as solar and electric vehicles. Jump River Electric could start selling behind-the-meter small solar units. Jump River Electric is planning to buy an electric vehicle, which is members will be able to drive for a day and experience the use of an electric vehicle. Now our manager Jim will present the manager's report.
Thank you, Myron. So, welcome everybody. Most everybody knows me. I think this is my 5th annual meeting, and I've never thought we'd get to 5 this quickly. So, thank you for spending your time, spend some time with us today. I kind of want to go over some stuff with us. So, this year, summing stuff up, excellence, perseverance, and the presence of obstacles. We've had more obstacles this year than last year than I could shake a stick at. It's been extremely challenging. But the highlights that came out of it last year, okay, record energy sales. People were staying home. People didn't go out People moved out of the cities and started turning their summer home residences into full-time residents. The co-op's growing. 1.1% growth in membership. Huge for us. We're on track this year to probably get about 1.5, and we're hoping to go to 2% growth. A lot of positive things are coming out of what's happened. Capital credits, along with Dairyland and capital credits, 596,000, I rounded that down, we're close to 597. We returned it to you guys through capital credits and through the power cost adjustment. We're not holding on to your money. The board has been very good. We've talked to the board a lot about passing that cost savings directly back to the membership. So it's been very, very good for most of the members to actually get a little bonus, especially around Christmas time. New headquarters. You know, the headquarters at first, wow. If we wouldn't have had it looking back, we wouldn't have built the doors open. Employees would have been forced to furlough and stay home. They can social distance, they can still do their jobs, and they can operate efficiently. We've seen an increase in efficiency through all the departments with all the employees in the new building. Wouldn't have been possible in the old building. And the building is running at a more efficient pace, costing us less energy than what we had in the old buildings. You know, drive-through events, I always heard about them. A couple of our neighborhood co-ops actually decided to do drive-through annual meetings. And we looked at it, we didn't do it. They're doing them, they're successful. We thought, you know, Dairy Day is big for us. Drive-through, I don't see how it works. Drive-through Dairy Days this last year, over 300 cars in 2 days went through the co-op to get ice cream. They got the ice cream in their car and took it home, which was great. Kids were happy. Big success. We've never, ever had that experience before, and it was good for us. Halloween. One thing we really pushed this last year was Halloween drive-through. You know, just because COVID's got everything locked down doesn't mean we can't still be a part of the community. So we went ahead and we made sure that children of members and other children, we don't fit up to everybody, had an opportunity to drive through and at least see some folks and get some candy. Over 600 cars in a short period of time. I think everybody was worn out. I know we sent a lot of kids home with sugar high, including most of the employees. So it was good stuff. Operational changes. We changed how we do business in Elbert. From I'm with the management side, I talk to most of my employees sometimes through a video. My meetings are all video. I know we talked about that earlier. Everything is moved, so we're actually more proactive. We're actually being more responsible with the dollars we spend, and we're getting more done in the day. So it's been very good for us. We've experimented with the hours that go on. Mine's crews have gone to a 4-10 schedule. Production's up. They get a lot more work done. That's reflected in how the margins you see at the end of the year and the rates or the savings to get back to the numbers on capital credits. Things we're doing is very proactive for the co-op. Bottom line, we're trying to save money at the co-op. Employees, I can't not give enough credit to our employees. Our employees actually made everything work. We have 3 districts for all of you to know. We've got Hayward, we've got the Hannibal area, and we've got John River Basin. We kept the employees separate. And they've had to struggle with being separate and working apart from each other. They did it. We had one event in Hayward that shut the entire office down. All of our line crews, close contact. Cooperation among cooperatives, reached out, we were able to cover anything that came up and we navigated through it. But our employees have been resilient and they deserve a really big hand of applause for everything that they've done. So 2021, there's a lot going on. What do we build on? How do we build it after coming on such a bad year? The rate study is the same thing we went through in 2017, or 2017. You guys are familiar with it. We're analyzing everything on our rates. We're looking at a time of use rate structure. We're making sure that what we're doing is correct. We're looking at this as if we need to make any small changes, we make a small change. It's very easy to make a small change and go ahead and give you guys an $8 facility charge increase when it might just be a 50-cent increase if we make things work. We're being proactive with what we're doing. And that's what's going to come out of this rate study. It's going to give us the ability to predict what we need to do. Long-range planning, you know, you've heard a lot about that, planning for the future. We've got planning for the future. The co-op is proactive, we're not reactive. And we will continue to plan for events and things that can happen. We weren't prepared for this event, but we have a plan that if something would happen in a major disaster, we can still function. That's how we work with us. Right away in spring, and cutting spring and cutting. We've got to get back. We're spending a lot of money there. It's a big part of our budget. It's a maintenance part of our budget. It eats up a lot of dollars. Good thing about that, the energy reliability. trees going down on lines in the middle of the night, that goes away. Our goal is in the next 5 years to go to a maintenance program instead of a full right-of-way kind of program. It's gonna be putting a lot of pressure on crews, but it's something we're rising up and trying to take care of in-house and outside. We heard about aging infrastructure replacement. We're putting a plan together. How do we handle the hole that's been out there? It's been serving us well. It's been passing inspection for the last 60 years. Somewhere along the line, we got to come up with a plan to replace that hole and still move forward. So that's what we're doing right now. We're moving to a new view with the employees that we have in operation and engineering side. We've got an engineer currently that we just hired. If he was here today, I'd tell you guys a great engineering joke, but he's not. I'll have to wait until next year to tell that joke. But we've got some stuff that's just spectacular, going in that direction. EV charging network, we're part of the Charge EV. A bunch of co-ops got together, decided we're gonna go ahead and get in front of the charge wave. We're gonna invest in the charging infrastructure. Members can actually get a charge system from us, put it at their house. It has load control built into it. We're gonna have areas scattered throughout the system that have good cell coverage. That's one of the keys for this is communicating with cell. We're actually put places out where they can stop anybody, swipe a credit card, and they can charge them. We want to get in front of this. It's going to happen to us. If we're not ready, it's going to pass us by, or it's going to catch us where we're not having the infrastructure prepared to actually put it in place. Community involvement will still maintain one of the big things that we're going to work on. We got to be a presence in the community. We've tried to do this through COVID. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to be responsible to the membership and the communities we serve. So we're going to try to hold our events. We're going to try to get outside. Once we get back to some type of a normal, you'll see us be more interactive on in-person events. But I will expect the drive-through events will continue at this point in time. Shared services. The board's been really big on this, and Jerry's been big on this in the past. Making sure that I've got an engineer, Price doesn't have an engineer. Right now, my engineer is very busy taking care of Jump River. But once he gets far enough along, we can expand him out into another co-op. They can help share the cost of that employee. So we're looking not only at that with the engineer, we might be looking at that with our CFO. So we might be looking at that with our IT person. We might look at that with our mapping people. We want to be able to share the cost with the other co-ops to make us more efficient and keep the cost down for both us and our neighboring co-ops. So we're really trying to move forward with that. Milestones for employees. Most of you guys know Sam Howard, has been around here for a long time. Sam's been a fixture of the co-op. 30s, how many years has Sam been with us already? 37? Sam's been here 37. Sam could have retired, thought about retiring, every time you think about it, he would. Sam actually came forward this year and told me, he said, Jim, I said, I'm done this year. So Sam is going to retire. Sam's not here today, he's probably out fishing, or getting ready to fish, or doing something that Sam likes to do. This was the best picture I had of Sam, and everybody tells me it looks like a mugshot. So, we're going to miss Sam, but we do have a young guy stepping up that's ready to take his place, and he's going to work with Sam the next 6 months to be fully trained and ready to go. We got some other employees that reached some good milestones. Denise Zimmer, she's a CSR up front. Ray Smith, Kevin Wright, out of Hamilton. These took her 20 years to go up, so we got great employee retention. And then 5 years, we've got a couple. Gail, you recognize her up in the Hayward area. Gail did 5 years, and Marcus, he first go by Mo. He runs around in our age. He just did his 5 years. And kind of last, I want to go over the first employees, and there's a few here today. John's in the back. You can raise your hand if everybody knows John, full involved. Vicky. Tammy's sitting over there on the side. And I look around where they're all hiding. Kurt in the back. Kurt's the guy that's going to actually step in for Sam and move up. Got Lori hiding down here. Gail's hiding down there. And the one that really likes the attention is Dawn. She's hiding down there. I don't know where Denise is. Denise is around here somewhere. Oh, there, she's hiding. And then we get Sebastian on the IT, and then the person that's really new to us, you guys are going to meet her from Louisiana. She's my executive assistant, HR manager, and she also takes care of office supervision. Jennifer, she's takes care of me a lot to make sure I do the right thing. And I'm not sure if I missed anybody. Did I miss any Kevin Wright if he's around, or any of those? And Greg Walters is there. So, those are great employees, very dedicated to the co-op. But their families are also part of the things that are very dedicated to the co-op. They allow us to do what we do. We spend more time with each other than we do our families. So if families, take us back to the employees, take it back to their families, we appreciate them very much. They're part of the system, they're part of us. We could do what we do without them, and they're supported. I do want to thank the board. Boards are fun. I think boards are exciting. Boards make us work. And we don't always agree on everything, but we always seem to work things out. So that's part of what it is. That's part of working through the process. That's part of the governance of co-op. Healthy conflict. And I believe at times we do have that. But at times, we all have it. At all times, we always have to call out the best interest of work. Got to thank the members. I'd like to thank more members today, but the ones that did show up today, thank you very much for spending your time with us. We want to serve you. You guys are the reason that co-ops exist. And we want to make sure that we always have the group best interest in front. So we get that to me, and I know we'll get it to the board, and we'll always get it from the employees. And I got to thank our partners. We have a lot of partners. We've got Niles, who's a partner of the co-op. He's a corporate attorney. He's great for us. We have an auditor that's a partner of the co-op. We have a lot of folks that work with us that don't get the attention, but they're a great part of the co-op. So there's a lot of folks behind the scenes. Hopefully we get back to normal. We get everybody together in a room. We can all visit and talk. It's nice to be able to see everything. So thank you guys all very, very much for coming today and spending some time with us on a rainy Saturday morning. Niles?
Thank you, Jim, for the great job you do throughout the year. So in lieu of having the auditor appear at the meeting and present his report, I've been asked to read to you the brief summary of the audit. And it's from Jim Halverson, a certified public accountant at Clifton Larson Allen LLP. Dear members, we have audited the balance sheets as of December 31, 2020 and 2019, and the related statements of comprehensive margins, patronage capital and other equities, and cash flows for those years. In our opinion, the financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position of Jump River Electric Cooperative as of December 31, 2020 and 2019, and the results of its operations and its cash flows for the years then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. The financial information in the April 2020 WEC News is consistent with our audited financial statements. Total assets increased by 2.9% to $48,826,179. This is a result of the cooperative's utility plant increasing $3.9 million. As a result of additions to distribution plant during 2020, the liabilities of the cooperative increased approximately $1.5 million as debt was borrowed to fund the projects. Equity to asset ratio for the co-op was about 36%, which is 36.2%, which is within the expected standards of the industry and the borrowers. Excuse me. Net margins for the year were $504,125 compared to $515,609 in the previous year, and it's signed Jim Halverson on behalf of Clifton Larson Allen. The next item of business is the report of the voting on the election of directors and the other matters in front of you. And Gene Ludvigson is the chair of the tellers. And Gene, you want to come forward and give those results? We didn't rehearse this.
I just thought they'd make me run like my wife usually does. I've got the elections for the results for the 2021 elections, and for District 1, Jane Wright will be your next director at 293 votes, and John Fitzel had 173 votes. And for District 5, it'll be Bill Van Dorn as your director. He had 325 votes, and Aaron Knox had 133. For District 6, William Avery was unopposed. He had 406 votes. And for the proposed bylaw amendment number 1, which is tenure and qualifications, it passed by 442 votes to 27 votes. Amendment number 2, annual meeting quorum, was adopted, 413 votes as to 43 votes. And resolution number 1, 5-year moratorium on spending money, it passed by 329 votes to 145 votes. And your approved 2019 annual meeting minutes was approved by 425 votes to 14 votes. And approval of the 2020 annual meeting minutes passed by 420 votes to 13 votes. And so, I guess that is completes your election results. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene, and thanks to all the tellers and everybody who makes this process work. What you don't see behind the scenes is all the hard work by the Rules and Resolutions Committee, the board, the folks in the office who managed to pull all of this together and get it published so you have all that information in time. So thanks to all of you and to the candidates, win or lose, who show such interest and commitment to this co-op. This doesn't work without that kind of commitment. So thank you all. And with that, I think it's back to question time.
We have one question from Jackie Pedersen. Why is Jump River mailing out separate voting ballots? Were there more people voting due to the mailing? What was the cost of this change? Personally, prefer the voting forms in the magazine when I was asking others if they voted. They said they had thrown the mail-in ballot away because they thought it was just a piece of junk mail.
So, let me grab there. We'll start with the first one. So, the reason we went to changing the ballot out of the magazine was time. The magazine gets published on a certain date, and making sure that we would get the ballots to the members in a timely manner was the reason we went to the separate publication. That way it comes to you on time and we can get it back in. When it went to the magazine, it came with short notice, and we didn't always have everything completed, the rules and resolutions, or everything else that we needed to take care of. We did notice, and I'll go skip your question for a little bit on this one. We did notice, and we did see a concern, heard a concern that some of the ballots were being thrown away. We know that in the future, if we do this, we need to change the ballot so it doesn't look like just every other ballot coming from any other election in the state. So we'll actually change that and do something that, as far as green, and we'll make it something that has a light bulb on it, or definitely signifies Jump River. There is a cost change, and I will get back to you on that. I'll have staff return that call to you on what the cost difference is on that. So hopefully that answers all your questions.
Is there any other questions in the audience?
Steve Van Dorn, W6508 Point Road, Wisconsin. You just told us that the proposed advisory resolution passed. Now, was that voting against it or for it? Oh. You just told us that the proposed advisory resolution passed. Was that it passed as it was opposed to the resolution or for it? How was the resolution worded?
It was, the votes were in favor of that resolution. So the members are now on record as urging the board to institute that moratorium.
Okay, thank you.
And it is an advisory resolution, I want to emphasize that, but when it comes from the membership, it's something that the board will take very seriously, it's true.
Any other questions? And we'll move on to the prize drawings.
Okay, so make sure everybody gets a shot, and employees and board are excluded from this, I'm sorry. So members that did show up, the odds are really good for you today. We'll draw for the main power credit right off the bat, but we're not gonna announce that winner until the end. That way everybody has a shot at the big one. So, with that, I'll hand this over now, and I will, welcome you.
And that big one, as Jim said, we'll announce after the others. Arian Knaps. Consolation prize. Jeff Allard.
These are for $100.
Yeah.
$100.
$700 credits. Zola Geisler. Zola Geisler. Annette Witkowitz. John Fitzel. That's fine. Don Olfs. Tom and Sue Van Doren. And the grand prize, Sam and Debbie Stewart. Thank you.
That's from all those big farmers.
Well, that concludes our 83rd annual meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by James, or a second? Second by Wally. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passed.